Okay. Are we related? I'll wait and see if we get some people in here first. So we don't miss anybody. Oh. I'm not seeing the live. Maybe I got too many in one day. I don't know. It is not coming up. Oh. Okay, here it is. I wonder what's not coming up on anything else. There it goes. Okay, so um, are we related? So yeah, I got the Wi-Fi on this time. Da, 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 da. Oh, that was so bad earlier. I've missed out on it 2 times. This messed me up. Um, so I had, an interesting thing happen just kind of recently, and I was hoping that some of you guys would show up over here so that I don't have to like repeat it um, in the vlog. Let's wait a couple more seconds and see if anybody appears. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and begin. Okay, so no offense to anybody. As a matter of fact, somebody involved in this is on my YouTube channel, and the guy is awesome. Really nice guy, and I actually, gone through many emails with him, probably 50 of them at least, and really laugh, really meet people, but still, I don't know who I'm talking to, really. I'm not seeing them in person or anything like that. And they apparently live, several states away from me. So, anyway, they're up in the eastern part of the states, apparently. But anyway, I don't know them, basically. So, I was contacted through my commercial email, which is nothing to do with YouTube, and that was kind of strange. Because I've always got weird emails, just like anybody else. And, you send them to spam, whatever. And I was just kind of really shocked. You know, uh, I'm kind of one in plain sight. I had a friend of mine years ago that said, if you're trying to hide from the police, just be in plain sight. They'll never find you because they're always looking for you. And they think you're going to be somewhere else. I don't know if that's true or not, but anyway, so um, I was kind of a little bit offended there at first because I get this weird email. You always get all these ones from Nigeria and all this that go, the Jewish prince died and has left $1 bazillion, and you are a beneficiary. And if you'd like to claim it, then you can, respond to this letter. Then the next letter comes and they're like, if you'd like to pay $1,500 and send it by wire to such and such, then we will make sure that, you get your $14 million out of a zillion dollars that, is yours to claim, and stuff like that. And what they do is they're just trying to move money. They're trying to steal money because if you ever actually get it, which a lot of people do, then they're asking you to ship half of it to this other person. And it's like a money launder scheme. So don't do any of that. But anyway, so, I'm just leery of weird emails that just kind of show up. But, I think like the first one was, uh, are you related to Tessie? And, who is the captain to you and stuff like that. And it was like, well, yes, she's my grandmother. And, and we talked kind of back and forth, and then he was trying to, figure out who I was exactly, where my placement was in the so-called family tree. And, I'm just not out into giving a lot of personal info, to somebody, I don't know who they are. Um, and then, he was asking me, if I had brothers or sisters, and what their names were and stuff like that. And I just, I can't do that because I don't know what I'm dealing with. I don't want to endanger, my family members or, good friends or anything because I don't know who you are. Really, I don't. Um, and especially stuff that's like these folks have been dead, for like a bazillion years. And I mean, my grandmother, I didn't meet her. I mean, I probably did when I was a baby, but I didn't meet her till I was like 11 or 12. And she was ancient then. I mean, I don't even know how old she was, but she was quite old then. And, or elderly, I should say. And my dad wasn't that old, but, I went to go live with my dad for a few years, and that didn't work out very well because we were like two bulls in a ring, actually. And it took years to be his friend. I mean, 3/4 of our lives were over when we could be just the best friends in the world. And it was a shame. It was really a shame. There was like no way to impress my dad. And so, my dad's Southern, and I knew some of the family, some of the really old family that are long since gone. I mean, they rolled out, in my 20s, my early 20s. So, yeah, I knew his mom. I didn't like her. She thought, she told me I was a child of the devil because I was left-handed. But see, I was left-handed because I was severely burned when I was kindergarten age and forced to start writing with my other hand, which then made me ambidextrous in the end, which was really a cool plus. The burns not, I mean, I've had that scar for years and years. Um, my whole other arm was severely burned with oil. Um, so, yeah, and it was a horrible thing dealing with it for at least 1 year in the Navy hospital. Back and forth, back and forth. It was just absolutely disgusting. And I mean, I can still remember it today. You know, it just, ugh. It's a horrible thing if you've ever been burned. It really is. So, anyway, um, you know, so, she's typically Southern and Okie, I guess. I don't know if she was born in Oklahoma or not. Maybe she was born in Missouri too. I don't know because my dad, was born in Missouri and raised in Oklahoma. And so, they're all like a bunch of Okies, okay? That's what they call them. Um, and, I just really didn't know that much about that family. I know way more about my mother's family because I grew up around them. I know all kinds of things about the family, but then again, some of my cousins and stuff, I don't know whatever happened to them. And I'm no longer in California, so I don't know a whole lot. I used to try to visit people after I grew up, and not everybody was very friendly. On my mom's side of the family, was like, geez, I thought the world of these folks when I was a kid. So, there was no big loss. But to each their own. But anyway, so I knew the only way I knew my grandmother really was because she would fly out from Oklahoma. She lived with Pearl McCullough, which I didn't know if she was really relative or not, or they were just best friends. And I guess they were actually related. I didn't just know all that stuff. Um, and I knew Pearl McCullough was a damn cuckoo, and I knew that for a fact. And I talked to her on the phone several times to the point of where I'd scream and say, "Don't call my house again." Um, she would make my grandmother cry. And so anyway, who resided with me for a short period of time. So anyway, all I knew of her was like, I don't know, I guess, once a year she would fly out from Oklahoma, and then she would stay with us for I don't know how many weeks, and then she had a room she rented all year round at this place called Biola Hotel in downtown LA at 5th and Hope Street, which was, you look out the window, you can see the LA Public Library. This huge place of 100 stairs kind of thing. I went in there one time, probably because I didn't like the stairs. But the one time I did go in there, the whole front wall had big, giant posters and duplicates of newspaper articles of my grandmother, Tessie, and how famous she was, a genealogist and doll collector. And it was pretty impressive. I mean, she made her fame in California, and she's from Oklahoma. I mean, I never had my stuff put in a public library on big giant walls as you walk in. That's pretty cool. But anyway, so, and she was a very serious genealogist, okay? This woman, all you do is mention a name to her, and she could start riffling off stuff. And people would contact her to have them, to have her do family histories and things. And so, it was amazing. I mean, I spent hours talking with her lots of times, even though she thought I was the child of the devil. And, so, uh, we just didn't get along kind of thing. I mean, I didn't like her. I couldn't stand her. So, anyway, I just tolerated her because it's my dad's mom. You're supposed to be respectful. And so, don't think it was like barrels full of monkey. I was just a kid, 11, 12 years old. And then when I left home, I used to, take buses, or if I had a car, I would drive up there and go, see if she was there. because she started to like reside in California at that hotel that she paid for all year round. I think she stopped going back and forth to Oklahoma to Pearl's house. And so, I would say, I probably better go see my grandmother. It's like you don't have many of those. Uh, my mother's mother, passed away long before I was born. So I never got to meet her and would have loved to. Um, I feel like I missed so much, and a lot of history going there. She missed the ride on the Titanic. She had board and missed it. We wouldn't even be here today if it weren't for her. Okay, incredible stuff. But anyway, I'd go up and I'd visit Tessie up in the hotel in downtown LA. Not a good place to go, day or night. God, what a nasty place. Just walking 2 blocks in downtown LA was nasty, scary. So anyway, and downtown LA was always like for manufacturing, for the fabric and fashion industry, and that's kind of about it. And the homeless, just not a place to be going, and definitely not a place to live. Oh my gosh, ew. I mean, you couldn't even own a car up there. If you had to take taxi, walk, take the bus, because there was no parking. Basically, um. So, and my grandmother didn't drive. Okay, Tessa didn't drive, so it worked out great for her. She lived in a little tiny, like that song "Trailer for Sale or Rent," room to rent 50 cent. No car, no pool, no pets, ain't got no cigarettes. Little tiny room, and she just loved it, happy as a lamb. She had all her dollies in there, probably 100 of them, porcelain Civil War dolls. She called them all her babies, and she made their clothes and put jewelry on them and stuff, and they were there, and so it was like when you'd go to visit her, it was like talking to a room full of people. And they were just her pride and joy, and she would tell you the history of different families, and then the history of our family name, my dad's side and all that. And I would sit and listen, and because you always learn so much from older people, it's really important in life to take a little bit of time and listen to people that are older than you, because you learn something. And it's your opportunity to ask questions like, what was the first car you drove? I mean, I asked that to my Uncle Rufus, and he's going, well, I had a black wagon that had red wheels on it, and I'm like, a wagon? Like, what kind of wagon are you talking about? Like, Radio Fire? He's talking like something out of history books, like out on Little House on the Prairie, man. A wagon, a wood wagon. There was no such thing as cars. So, anyway, so, all these people were quite interesting. He read, I got the internet working. Weird it does it. No, I think it was my internet, because I didn't have it hooked up to the Wi-Fi. Second time, like in like a month or a week. And I was so bugged. I was like, no. One time I didn't have the monetization turned on for a 6-hour vlog. How terrible. No, that was my internet, because the signal's so bad here at my office. And if I'm not on the Wi-Fi, which is not much better, the signal gets really bad. So I would venture to say it's my end, not yours. Really, I do. I really. It's on there now. It is working now. And I made sure it's on. And I had to do this vlog. And because I had to tell you guys something, and then also see what you think, because I've been holding it in and holding it in. And I'm one of these kind of people, I'm really down, dirty, and honest. And like I was saying earlier, the guy might be even on here listening to this. And I like the guy. But I don't know who he is, really. I've never seen him in person or anything like that. He contacted me through email. And it wasn't an email. It's connected to my YouTube. It's my commercial email. And, that was just not cool. And then you don't know what to think when you see stuff like that. So anyway, um, my grandma Tessie was just really interesting. Um, I saved her butt from the poo poo eating dog, a woman I could not stand my whole life. Okay, I tolerated her. I went up to go see her on my own, taking buses, cars, whatever, after I left home at 15 and a half, because I felt like it was my responsibility. She was elderly. It's the only grandma I had. And I wanted to be respectful because one day she's going to be gone. And if there's any question I wanted to ask her or anything I wanted to learn, I probably better be checking on her every once in a while and visit with her. And nobody's there. My dad's not going to be there because my dad's working all the time. My dad is not one of those that like goes, I'll go by and see my mom tonight, or I'll go by and see my mom once a week. Psh, no, money was always first with my father. He worked so hard to get to where he, made it. And no one was going to stop him. Not his mother, not anybody else. Not even us kids. So, and I respect him for that. He was working. When we came to live with him, he was working to try to give us so much better. I mean, all the way around. And he was just working too hard. We were fine when we got there and lived on the boat. He thought it was a cardinal sin that we needed to have a home and bedrooms and all. We didn't. We didn't need all that. The best part of our lives was living on the boat. It really was. You know, it was just wonderful. And I told him that years later. And he was shocked. He thought we were like paupers. Like what kind of dad he was. Yeah, my dad was on a TV show, in California, single parents, and he was the only single parent that was a dude. I guess your dad is still working. My dad will work the whole rest of his life. You never put him down. And but yeah, so anyway, his side of the family lives forever. They all go way off beyond 100. So and I have to be very careful in this vlog because I don't want to expose my dad. Um, it put him in any danger. But anyway, so or any of my other family members. So anyway, I knew Tessie, my grandmother. I saved her back from the poo poo eating dog. My dad was getting ready to put her in a nursing home because he couldn't be around. He was traveling around the world. He opened sailing schools in Mexico, out, I guess, at Ensenada, and then one in Hawaii. And then he was lecturing back and forth at Annapolis, the Naval Academy, and he was just everywhere. He was teaching at UCLA and a bunch of other colleges, Santa Monica College, and he's just everywhere. And then he was helping people with movies, and that's where, I guess they got tight, with Natalie Wood and Robert Wagner and all this other crap. And yes, he was there the night she died, and it just goes on and on and on. So there was a lot of things. There's a lot of TV shows and movies that my dad was called in on because he's in the sailing business, and they needed his assistance because he's world-renowned pro. Okay. Anyway, so I knew this guy they said was my great great uncle Rufus, which was related to my dad's sister, and my dad like really distant or something, and that guy was interesting. I had the wonderful pleasure of knowing him and going to visit him, when I had put him in a nursing home, which he really didn't even belong there. And that was really great. The conversations were so incredible. I wished I would have tape recorded them. I was lucky that my child got to attend it. She was only a baby. Um, and it was, I mean, there's iconic historical things in my life with people that were so much older than me, that were relatives that I actually got to know. But I was still quite young. But anyway, I took Tessie in. I told my dad, I said, God, don't put her in a nursing home. I hated this lady. Oh my God, I hated her, my dad's mom. And he goes, well, what do you suggest? I said, well, my grandfather died the same way, my mother's dad. I said, as soon as they took his stuff away and stuck him in a nursing home for no reason, then, he died, shortly thereafter. And the only one he did remember was me in the end, which was really strange. Um, so, he blocked certain stuff out of his life. So, I didn't want to see that happen to any older person. Don't throw people away unless you just really have to. But see, my dad's always traveling. He's always working. He didn't have time to play the game. You know, he didn't have time to babysit his mother. And she was elderly and he's not a nurse. And, you know, so, he just wanted to just write it off. And I said, oh, God, no, you'll kill her. I'll take her. I had a very nice house out in the Hawthorne area by Northwood that I was renting. I'm paying really good money for back then. It was about 600 a month, and that was huge money for rent. I was making bank anyway. Um, and I said, look, I got, it was a 2 or 3 bedroom house. And I said, I got, enough room for her, whatever, if you want to, let her stay with me, please don't put her in a nursing home. So that's what we ended up doing. She stayed with me, for a while. But then it got kind of out of control. I came home from work, uh, one afternoon. I guess it was about 6 o'clock at night, and I came home and there was like 15 cops in my yard, and I'm like, "Holy Christ, what has happened?" The house is still standing, so obviously it's not on fire, and it was just terrible. The house came with security gates, so you could lock the security gates so I could make sure that she was going to be okay and not wander, whatever. And I left a key in the house. And I guess she couldn't figure out how to get out. And she was standing in the door screaming till the neighbors called 911. I don't know exactly what happened. And it was so embarrassing. And I thought they were going to put me in jail. And I got my daddy on the phone. And we related, maybe, I don't know. um, yeah, you're missing story time. But we're just getting into it. So anyway, I'm thought, geez, I'm going to go to jail, and God, I wasn't even 21. I had fake ID and was working in the clubs making bank. And so, mostly bartending and strip joints. Okay. Making bank wearing a tuxedo with a bow tie, buddy. Pulling 400 a day in tips in, plus my pay. I got like 100 a shift pay, It was great. And that was just tips from the bar. I wasn't dancers tipping back or anything. I was just customers that would tip me. I mean, I've made out like bacon. Worked day shifts. And so anyway, you work like 10 in the morning till like 6 o'clock, shift change. And so anyway, God, I thought I was going to go to jail, and I called my dad, and he answered the phone. Thank God. Whew. I didn't have to call England or Germany or wherever. And I said, I don't know what's going on, but there's a lot of cops in my yard. I said, and I don't know what is going on with your mother. They won't let me talk to her. I don't know what has happened. The house is still standing. And I just don't know what to do. He's like, let me talk to them. So then he talks to them on the phone. And now this, I, I mean, it was messy. And so anyway, he talks to them, and then obviously she's standing there kind of confused, and there's like 4 cops around her. There's like 3 other ones on the lawn. I mean, the neighbors are like watching. It's not even nightfall. you know and I'm like totally embarrassed, and just scared to death they're going to handcuff me and take me away, and I don't know what happened. So anyway, he gets on the phone with me and said, well, they were upset because she was left alone. And I said, well, I mean, what do you mean? No, this is in California. I was in Hawthorne, California, and I was renting a really nice house. I mean, and paying extra big money to have that house all by myself, by Northrop. I'm trying to think of the address of it. Um, uh, but it was really nice. And so anyway, I had moved my grandmother in. to help my dad to keep her from putting in a nursing home. And so she was staying with me for a while. We got to be very good friends. I cooked for her. She thought I was just, wonderful. I sat and listened to her for hours and hours and hours when I was not working. Um, and the stories were just incredible. It was like an open history book. I mean, there was just so much knowledge this woman had. And all she did was genealogy. That was her hobby. And she was famous for that. And collect those, Civil War dolls were her life. She called them her babies. And so, anyway, but she was a character. I never knew my grandfather. He died before my dad was born. Um, and I don't know exactly what all happened or what. They were in oil, in the oil business. I found that out recently from my sister. That I never met those other people. So anyway, uh, the police let me slide. They didn't arrest me. My dad came out to come get her, and he ended up putting her in a nursing home, unfortunately. And I never saw her after that. And then I guess some years later, she had passed away. And so, that was the end of that. Now, when I left California and went to Oklahoma, um, my dad's sister offered to front the whole deal. For years, they had made me the offer to go back there and for her to help me with her business, and abstracting and title and all this stuff. She was big, 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 big in Oklahoma. And she had many different locations. And that's a really big money business. And a very, very smart woman, very frugal. I mean, beyond frugal. Oh my gosh, she's had more than one way pockets with 2 sets of zippers and a metal detector. She was super frugal, had tons of money. Um, uh, but she had some serious flaws, though, as a human being. I did not like her. I didn't like her any more than I liked Tessie. Um, she was much like her mother, even though she hated her mother. She was very much like her mother. She was not like my dad. She just wasn't. Um, I mean, when I was a kid, I thought Roseanne was a goofy sucker anyway. Um, she was just, to me, she was like really hillbilly and like hillbilly hippie. Um, she was dressed well and everything, but I mean, this woman made a ton of money. She was really smart. She had some really good businesses till the day she died, which was just not long ago. Um, and I'm thinking, I don't know, 5, 10 years ago, something like that. And her son died right before her, John Cass Jr. He died right before her, but that was the drug thing. Um, that I thought it was, and that's what it apparently was. I was informed of that. I'm like, I knew that. So it's kind of like you see people's fates before it happens. So anyway, when I went to Oklahoma, I had an open door. My way paid the whole thing, shipped everything I owned out, but anything I couldn't fit in boxes. Left all my cars there. My baby sister was like, "You can always go back. Don't worry. It's not the end of the world." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that is a thought. It's not like I can't come back to California if I don't like it." Well, that's just about impossible. But anyway, once you go, you go. So anyway, I had the wonderful privilege of knowing my great great so-called Uncle Rufus that I never heard about before. Spent a lot of time with him after they had put him in a nursing home and got a hold of his crap. And he was like multi-mega millionaire. And they were busy trying to hide all his money before he rolled out. And he wanted them to kind of do that because he did not want the IRS to snag all his stuff up because he never was married. He had no kids. And, he made all that money himself. And this is a guy that did nothing but carry a briefcase around and never worked for anyone but himself. So he was like buying properties and reselling them, investing. And that's how he made his money, all by himself. So anyway, so as we rolled along, now he had passed away after I left Oklahoma. I had got the heck out of there, and I knew I wasn't going to stay there. and I transferred out. I'd applied in advance and transferred out from the military college out in Claremore, Oklahoma, and was already approved. And as a matter of fact, I was registered in two schools all at once, actually, with financial aid and everything. So I was kind of like going back and forth weekly. Um, and I, went in for engineering at another college, out by Memphis. And so, because they had more to offer for me in engineering, where this school it kind of stopped, at like interior design and a little bit of architectural. And so, and I wanted to continue my architectural, and they just really didn't have any more. And then when I got there, they were like, "This is not what you want to really do." I said, "Yeah, well, what I'd really like to do is be a mechanical engineer, but that's never going to happen." They're like, "Why?" I'm like, I have a weak mathematics background, and all that. And they're like, "We'll get you through, even if you're second grade level." I'm like, "What?" They're like, "If that is your dream, we will get you through." I'm like, "What?" So, I have like 10 years of college, okay, altogether, you know. Um, and I made great money going to college too. But anyway, um, so I wanted to get out of there, and I had transferred the hell out of there. So, I don't know exactly when my Uncle Rufus left. Um, I had been through that area a couple times. I did go to see Roseanne and meet her for lunch. I go to her office, and then she talked to me like dirt street trash when we'd go eat dinner. And I was like, why am I even sitting here listening to this? I have somebody right now that's, a kind of a friend that does me like that too. I get so tired of people talking to me like trash, and it's like, I'm so tired and I'm older now, and I just kind of hold my breath, trying to be proper, you know, and just kind of let it ride. Um, and I guess I just end up looking stupid, but stuff worries me to death. But anyway, so all these people are like long gone. That my daddy's family, there's nobody left. My cousin's dead. Everybody's gone. My grandma, on my dad's side, and whatever relatives she had, they're all gone for years. I was very lucky and privileged to have known some of those folks. So I heard you say you went to the clubs illegally. Was that when you started selling to the workers? No, actually, I was partying in the clubs. I had fake ID. We all hate the IRS. um, uh, do you think women are discriminated against the STEM courses? I don't know what that is. I heard you say you went to class illegally. Well, yeah, I left home at 15 and a half, and it was an adult world. So, I had to qualify. I had to dress the part, act the part, and I had to, get some fake ID. And back then, you could get it on the back of the National Enquirer. They had like 15 different offers of people that made IDs. And all you had to do was go get a picture that looked like something out of the DMV in the picture booth. I don't know if you've ever seen a picture booth where you put money in and you get in this booth and take a picture and you pick the background you want. And then you have to wait 5 minutes for the stuff to develop, and you got pictures, and you take the straightest picture, and you cut it there, and you send it with your little application and tell them what state you want and all that stuff. And then they mail you back an ID in about 30 days after you send them like $25, which was a lot of money back then. And the stuff looked good, man. I used to have New York ID. I figured I'd get one that was out of state so they wouldn't know what it looked like. But that didn't always work out either, because I ran into a door guy that was from New York, and he went, "This is a bogus ID." And I'm like, "Shut up. I go here all the time." And he's like, "All right, Red. I'm not going to say anything." I said, "I got the money to get in, and I got the money to pay for my drinks." And he was let me in. It was so cool. I'm not saying that all works today. And I'm not saying that everybody should leave before they're 18 years old. I would stay. I would stay as long as I could stay, because it's really a rough life out there, when you're a kid. Okay, so how was this when you lived in Tennessee, California? Roseanne, it was my dad's sister, and she's gone. She already left. Um, let's see. Oh, partying nice. Well, I mean, in time I learned that I could be a costume maker and I could make G strings, which are illegal now. And there's some girls trying to wear them now, and they're just terribly illegal. They're horrible panties. Um, they don't stay on right, and they're cute, but they just don't. They're not enough coverage. Um, and I could make G strings and sell them for $3, and make gloves, elbow length gloves, and sell them for $5. And then if I decorated them, I got a couple extra bucks on each one. So I would make, well, if I had a bill I had to make, I said, man, I'll make some costumes and throw them in, like the little overnight slumber party Barbie case kind of thing. The little miniature suitcase you go to spend the night at somebody's house. And I'd just make a bunch of those and I'd fold them up nice and neat. And I had panties on one side and gloves on the other. And I would go into the clubs and say, hey, I'm here. Can I sell the girls some panties and gloves? And they'd go, yeah. And I would sit at the bar and drink Cokes or whatever. And I would hit every club in a day. I'd hit like 14 clubs in the LA County area, down by the beach, by LAX airport. And there was a lot of clubs down that way, in Lenox and Inglewood and all that. So, uh, yeah, and I'd make enough money to pay my electric bill, $400, $600 a month back then, and so that's what I would do. If I was short, get on that sewing machine, buddy. And I'd sell all the stuff so fast, so fast. And I instantly had my money, so it was always like a fallback thing. But the best place to drink in the clubs if you're a single girl is the strip clubs, because they have full security and they walk you to your car. You're totally safe. So it's not like you got to carry a gun from your car to the front door of the bar, and then when you leave, do the same. Because the strip clubs, it's not even necessary. You can leave your gun in your car because, you've got somebody that will escort you, because that's a rule in strip clubs, whether you work there or not. If you are a female, a single female, they see you in their lot. They always have a lot guy. And they escort you in. And then when you're ready to leave, you say, hey, I'm about ready to leave. Can you walk me out? And they're like, sure. And you tip them, So, anyway, yeah, things have changed so much. It's so pitiful. Um, I think they do it online now. Shoot, last I heard, you could get fake ID in Huntsville, Alabama for about $2,000. It's legit. You know, how do you like that? Like it's a very expensive thing if you get caught with fake ID. Fake ID. If you get caught in a bar with fake ID, they take the people with the fake ID before they take the hooker. Okay, that's not a good. It's a pretty serious thing. But anyway, yeah. So, I mean, I was in the bar rooms back in the day when the feds, come in. You got one on one side, one on the other, and then all of a sudden, the guy on the right grabs your drink and caps it, and the other guy on the left is like handcuffing you, and they're walking you out. And then they arrest the bartender and they put, a legal notice on the bar, on the liquor license and the owner, and then it kind of goes from there. It's not a good thing. So, you do put, the club at risk. But then there's also another fine line that you're responsible because it's, you were in there and it was your ID. So, all those medical shows and saw something happen to a stripper. Oh, let me tell you, I could tell you some really horrible, horrible stripper stories. Um, oh, Mother God, some really bad stuff. Ugh, and people I knew personally. And really bad things happen, but a lot of it was stupid hustling. That's when it's like, it comes back to get you. Um, Being honest in life is so much better because it won't come back to get you. And especially in the strip business, it will get you killed, bottom line. So you have to be very careful. But anyway, you watch who you're fooling with, and when you're taking people's money, you have to be ultra careful. So anyway, because somebody could come back and collect. So anyway, these people have long since left. And I really didn't know much about my dad's family. I only lived with him a couple years. My parents split up when I was young. And my mother didn't care for those Okies and didn't have a whole lot of good to say about them. She's not Southern, she's Danish. And, it was just like, they're all a bunch of damn Okies. I'm like, okay. Well, I tried to have an open mind in my life when I went to go live with my dad. My dad is not any kind of Okie hillbilly, really. You wouldn't even know he's from the South because he doesn't talk Southern. And he's very proper and he's military. I mean, he's Navy, all his life. So, yeah. And, but, when I moved back to Oklahoma, mother of God, that was so country. Oh, what an experience. Wow. But I couldn't wait to get out. It was like, man, I can't wait to, head out, exit stage left, get the hook. I did not like it there. First of all, there was no waves. There was no beach. There was no surfing. There was no Redondo Beach. There was no Manhattan Beach. There was no Marina Del Rey. There was no Malibu. There was no San Francisco. There was no San Diego. And there was no Ensenada with carnitas tacos, man. Yeah, I could drive to all those places. There was nothing there. There was no sidewalks. I couldn't wear heels most of the time. It was so hard to wear heels because they were always getting trashed in dirt and rocks because I didn't have sidewalks. Yeah, in town the roads were asphalt, but they didn't have damn sidewalks. You're walking through grass to your front door and stuff, and I hated it. There was nothing there. Nothing. If you wanted to go and do anything wonderful or fantastic, you had to drive to Tulsa. I was a parent, and so I couldn't do a lot of fun things after I became a parent. My party life was over. My kid's dad told me up front, you cut your throat when you have a baby. And that's basically, sneakers and good boots and country. Let me tell you what they wore when I got there. These chicks, now I'm the girl that wears the shorts and the white Marilyn Monroe heels, and I go to the grocery store, okay? That's just typical of me. Maybe a nice dress shirt with that, whatever. I had to tone my clothes down so much from California because, uh, that these people just couldn't relate. I mean, one of the times I went to a country western club, I had the coolest country stuff in the state of California. Man, I had the damn neon, pearl pink, you know, um, uh, um, uh, skin tight, jean style looking pants with, I had decorated them with gold studs all up the sides of hearts and stars. I had a light baby pink cowboy hat, and I had like all this feather chain that went off the back, like for 2 feet, that had like white feathers all the way to purple. I had the white tuxedo shirt with all the ruffles, and I had rhinestone chains sewn all the way down, all the front of the ruffles, and then around the cuffs and the collar. I mean, I had all the stuff, right? I was like super mega styling and profiling. I had, the cowboy belt. I had, the white, really nice cowboy boots with the pointed toe and the riding heel. I mean, I was styling and profiling in California when I went to a couple country western clubs, and I don't even like country music. I just went because it was fun, you know. And you would see people riding a mechanical bull. You would watch the way these people do these dances and stuff. And I'm a big fan of like truly Southern music, like the fiddlers and the harmonicas and the stuff like that. I'm a big fan of that. So I do like that, although I am not Southern. So anyway, um, I couldn't wait to get the hell out of there. So anyway, as the years progressed, all these people have died. They're gone. Long gone. Don't know much about them. I only knew them mostly when I was like 11 and 12. And then, through, my early 20s. And that was the end. I mean, my dad's sister just left. I don't know what it was, 5, 10 years ago, something. My cousin left just a few years before that. And he liked to party. He was a cokehead. And, I was informed that that's exactly what he died from. Like, how did I know? I'm like, because I knew, you know. And I told him, you're a little old to play that game. And he was way older than me, And that's apparently what did him in. Um, But yeah, so, I mean, it was a wonderful opportunity. I will always be thankful. I did have that open door. I don't know what possessed me to go. Maybe that was no other way out. I did have problems with my, daughter's dad. That was a very scary situation, and I just felt like I needed to run away from the whole state of California. I was so scared, and so I did. Hoping the grass was green on the other side to a point. Yes, it's a huge transition from California, even today. California to even where I'm at today in Florida, which is kind of southern too. A lot of southern people here. Um, it's a huge different transition. But now Florida's more nouveau than like Oklahoma, and Texas, and some of these southerny places. Okay, some of those southern places are very still southern. Arkansas, Tennessee, they're still kind of southern. Okay, it's just different. It's like going to Europe and going to England, Germany. They're all kind of different. So anyway, all these people are pretty well gone. So this guy recently emails me back to the beginning. Emails me on my commercial email, which I was kind of blown. And again, I will say he may be on here listening to us because he's been on my channel before. He's a very nice man. And we actually did interact quite a bit, like probably 50 emails and, laughing and all that kind of stuff through the emails. But, I didn't give him my phone number, my location, anything like that exactly. And, I just didn't give a lot of pertinent information because I don't know who I'm talking to. And you have to be really careful with YouTube too, because, it could get very dangerous, you know. You have to be very careful. You have to, cover your bases, be careful. So anyway, I wouldn't want one of my kids harmed or injured over my YouTube channel. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want anything to happen to good friends of mine over my YouTube channel. I don't want to be, dead or injured over my YouTube channel. Although there's people, I won't mention any names, that put my phone number and copies of my text messages and bullcrap videos that lie about me, you know, and endanger my life for the past year. Okay. Yeah. And that's another lawsuit. But anyway, so I try to protect people and myself and be careful on YouTube. Yeah. Um, so uh, I have to be careful. So I have somebody that just sends me an email on my commercial account. Has nothing to do with YouTube. I have an email for that YouTube, and it's mostly people trying to solicit me for their products. But I don't see any really good offers so far. They're still trying though. Like I was talking earlier about a toy manufacturer in Japan that's really trying to come after me to get me to, promote their toys. I, usually they want me to buy cases of stuff or something, and I'm like, no, not interested. Um, but anyway, so and so far I haven't, approved this one, and they haven't come up with any dollar amounts or anything, and so I'm just not interested. But anyway, so this gentleman, emails me, and I'm like, and the first thing he says, you're related to Tessie, and I said, yes, that's my grandmother. And he says, well, I am, like distantly related, and da da da, and are you, related to this other person? And then who are your brothers and sisters? And I'm not gonna be giving up a whole bunch of information, okay? Because first of all, I don't know who they are, and they're just typing some stuff away on a computer, whatever. I'm not seeing their face. I don't know where they live. I don't know where they're from. I don't know if they're a fid, okay? And are you writing a book? Are you trying to track me down? You trying to track somebody else down? I don't know who the hell you are, And you're mentioning somebody that's long since deceased. God, my grandmother, she's, I mean, I wasn't even 21 when she lived in my house. I know it did. It really did. It did sound like a scam for real. And, yeah, toys. I didn't tell you about that earlier today. About that Japanese people want to send me toys from Japan. And they want to make a do reviews and vlogs. Okay, that's another thing I thought of too. ID theft, whatever. But it gets better as we go along now. Are you ready? And I've got to leave my office by 10 o'clock because there's a bunch of drama been going on here for a week and people drug me through it. And I was only an innocent bystander. And they're like blaming me for some crap that I was not involved in. I just happened to see happen. And it's not my job, man. I am not management here. And I can't, babysit people that are grown. That's all on them. So my office got restricted. As of today, the second time they pulled it. Crap, when I rented it, it was 24 hours. But, such is life. I have to do what they say or go. That's how you solve the problem. If you don't like it, go. And I can't afford to go right now. So there you are. But anyway, so, yeah. So, I'm like, what the hell? Yeah, it sucks because, a lot of times I work till midnight, 1 and 2. They trust me. I'm under video camera. And now it doesn't mean it's forever. They could change their mind. This place is really flighty. But it's okay. I do what I gotta do. Maybe I need more sleep. I don't know. If I would leave work, I could go to sleep. Problem is I just keep working till it's like work till you die. And I could barely make it, driving to where I gotta go night. So anyway, maybe it's better for me. So anyway, so we're kind of go back and forth on emails, and then it gets to the point of, well, I think we're related, and I'm like, well, I don't know, my dad's family wasn't big. I mean, it was him, his mom, and I think she had a sister, right? And then he had a sister, and there's I just did, but actually it was more than that. There was like lots of brothers and sisters, um, of my grandmothers on my dad's side. But there was way more on my mom's side. We're talking 17 kids from my grandmother on my mother's side. So the family's horrendous. And there still are several of them still alive, actually, my aunts and uncles and stuff. So anyway, but they're Danes. And the other side, they're all Okies. So anyway, he's going on. And then he goes, look, and I looked up stuff on Ancestry.com, and then he was sending me emails with pictures of people, and it's like, and this is you. I've got a picture of you. And he sent this picture. And I look at it, I said, that's not even me. And then it's like, so, what's your, exact name, maiden name, whatever, And I'm not giving out all this info. I don't know who this person is. It's only emails. It's not like somebody standing in front of me. It's not like a cop, the FBI, whatever, showing me a badge. I don't know. And I have to be careful to protect myself and my family and my friends. So I have to be very, very careful. So anyway, and plus, the thing is, all these people are like long since dead. And I didn't know but some of them. And it was mostly when I was just, really young. Yeah, buddy, I'm telling you. Oh, my is right. So anyway, we were emailing back and forth. Then he starts sending me a couple pictures. Do you know any of the people in these pictures? And they're really old pictures. They're like from the 80s, okay? From like the mid 80s. And I said, well, there's my Aunt Roseanne. And there's that other person, and I don't know those other people. And they're like, oh. And they're like, okay, well, one of the other guys is this, and I don't know who they are. And, and so apparently my dad's side of the family did have like lots of cousins or something. I don't know. I never knew any of these people. They did family reunions. Roseanne used to be in charge of those. And they did family reunions. I was never invited to one. And I lived there for a short time. I wasn't invited to one. And they were like once a year, at a big hotel. And so anyway, yeah. So so this guy says, would you be willing to do, a DNA test? And I said, well, I might be game, I don't know. It might be interesting, but then again, maybe I don't want to know, And like, what if my dad's not really my dad? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of late in life to play that game, right? Sometimes things are better left undone. So, I said, I might be game, and it's like, well, look, I will have it mailed to you, and I'll pay for it or whatever, and you go take the test or whatever, and if you're willing. And then I'm like, and then he's like, and then you can go to this website and register on it, and then they'll send the information, and wants to do their family tree. Maybe, maybe not. Okay. Um, maybe not. All right. See what I'm saying? I mean, it's kind of I don't know. I don't know this person. Remember, we're talking on email. Okay. You know, but now they're pulling at straws, pulling at pictures and going, this is you, right? It's like, no. I don't even know who that person is. You know, you know, and God. So, and then they're reading articles online and going, well, okay, so you're this person, or your mother's this person. I'm like, nope, that's not my mom. And nope, that's not me. Well, is this like a sister of yours or a brother of yours, their name and their picture? I'm like, nope. And, well, who's your sister or brothers? And I'm like, I can't tell you that. You know? Again, I don't want to endanger my family. I'm not stupid. I don't know who this person is. No offense. you know? I mean, my grandmother was the number one genealogist in the world when I was a kid, okay? She was famous for that. In newspapers, everything. She's gone. You should have been around to ask her stuff. So, anyway, it kind of goes on. And then I called, my sister, and I said, look, I got this email. I'm telling her all the stuff. She said, bullshit. Oh, sorry, I cussed. And I said, yeah. I said, and I feel bad. I said, but I don't know really what to do. And the thing is, I really don't know who I'm talking to. They're offering to send me to a doctor to go do a DNA test or whatever and pay for it and everything so they can get more answers. And then it's supposed to go to some website. And I'm kind of leery about that because, one, it's really expensive. Two, other than the fact they said, they'd pay for it. And two, why am I like doing my DNA to send to somebody else and then it's put on a website? I don't want my info on the internet. Sorry. Leave me out. Two, DNA is a really big thing. DNA is a lot of things. DNA, I mean, it's like, I knew people that sold dirty panties, and can you imagine somebody ordering a dirty panty from you and dropping it off at a murder site? That's DNA, okay? So, I don't know if I want my DNA going anywhere. You know what I mean? If I go to a doctor, I want to know the test. I want to know the results. And then what I'll do is you can email me and I'll tell you what it says on the results. But I didn't want you to have the papers. Okay. That's my property. It's about me, my DNA. That means my makeup of my body. I don't want my crap going anywhere. No, I don't want it publicized on that familytree.com or whatever that horse crap is on the internet. I don't want my stuff on there. No, leave me out of the picture. But yeah, so my sister's like, I would not do it. And I said, well, now there's this other story that comes up. And it's like, he knows this girl. Like, first of all, his parents, like his dad was married to, into my dad's family or was part of my dad's family somehow or something. The daughter was somebody that was my grandma's sister or brother or something or other. And he's the kid and, the dude's like in his 60s and an engineer or something. And there's this girl that was adopted that's a friend of his that, was adopted by someone. And what they're trying to do is find out her family tree. And they think it leads back to my dad's family. But we're talking way back. Okay. And since, I don't know exactly when, but some time ago, the person did die. And now the daughter's searching. trying to solve that family tree. Okay. And so, okay, I still got time. So it kind of gets better as we go along. So anyway, so basically, what it kind of boils down to, it'd be better if I read all the emails and explained it to you legit, but they're on my phone, and that's what I'm using to vlog with. And so, it's something like, um, this woman was trying to find, her real mother and stuff like that, and now it's like, it links into my dad's family. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I'll go do it. You want to pay for it? And I'll keep the records, and I'll just tell you. I'll just tell you like over the email, if it's a yes or no. Okay. But still, again, I mean, I just don't see how it's going to work. I'm not true of my dad's side or true of my mother's side. I'm kind of half and half. I don't think it's going to help. These people are before me, have lived before me, and are, they're more closer to that platform, my grandmother or whatever, if they're related. But the thing is that, it's kind of dead and gone, is the bottom line. So anyway, and don't be surprised if the dude pops up on here because he knows my YouTube channel. He's joined it before. He's a very nice man. And so anyway, they want the DNA tests from, like my dad, me, my relatives, whatever relatives are still kind of left, which there's not really any. There's just very few. And then, so that they can compare it and see if they can track down who that adopted woman's parents really were, because I think it's coming from my dad's family, but coming from above him, like his mom. And apparently she had 4 or 5 brothers that I never knew about. And they think that maybe it's one of those relatives, my grandmother or her brother or her sister or whatever. And it's like, these people are all way gone for years. So, I mean, it could be a real hairy story. It could be, my grandmother, and Okies and Southerners tend to marry very young. I mean, if you were like, you're usually like 12 to 14 years old when you get to be like 18, you're old maid in the South if you're not married. It's like nobody wants you. There's no such thing as pedophile, any of that. It's just the way of the South. You grew up in little towns, you knew everybody all your life, and it was the proper thing to do. And you stayed with the person the whole rest of your life till you died. But today it's called pedophile. you know, so, but we won't get into that conversation. That goes way off somewhere else. So anyway, in the meantime, this other person is dead, the adopted child, that she has a kid. Anyway, I've gone back and forth with this guy. I talked to my sister again, and she's like, don't do it. So you want to talk to the guy? She's like, no. And she said, no. She said, this is just bull crap. It's stuff, it's history that's buried. I would just leave it the way it is, And I said, well, yeah. I said, honest to God, if my grandmother was alive today, trust me, she was not my best friend. I did save her butt from the poo-poo eating dog years ago, okay? But, because I was trying to do something kind, and so if she was alive today, do you really think I would go and say, Grandma, this guy sent me an email and he thinks that this person so-and-so is related to you or your brothers or sisters? What's the real Joe? You know what I mean? That would never happen. I couldn't do it. It might have been that she was pregnant or raped, or just too young to have kids, and she, donated her children. Who knows if those kids were ever her or anybody else, might have been twins. Who knows if they were, taken to a church or a convent and donated because she was underage, or, Her husband was at war, or, her brother who never married, got a girl pregnant or something. Who knows the story? Who knows if they're even related? Do I want to know? I could visualize, see my grandmother going, okay, so, and then her coming off with a story maybe of, oh God, I was, 11 and was raped by, an Indian or something in the wagon or something, I mean, might be a very horrible story. Again, there may be no story. There may be no relation whatsoever. But it's kind of like, let, dead dogs lie, you know. So then, we kind of go back and forth, and I'm like, no, not really interested in do the DNA thing. Well, could I get a hold of, your siblings? I said, no, that's not happening. Well, I really want to get a hold of your dad. And it's like, well, you know, that's probably a no too. My dad's busy. So anyway, we took him back to Annapolis Naval Academy. He's busy there. It's better just leave him alone. So anyway, yeah. So then, the guy was like, sends me an email every once in a while. Well, I was wondering if you could answer who this person is or this picture or whatever. I get some of those. He's real nice. And I'm like, oh man, I don't know that person. Did you know about this situation or this or that? And there's some interesting things that have pieced together of some of the wealth of my Aunt Roseanne and stuff, okay? It's kind of interesting. So, but again, I mean, she's gone, you know. It's kind of old history. But, so anyway, then I get an email like a week ago, and I'm here at work. So-and-so gave me your email address, and I am the daughter of so-and-so, and, she was adopted, and, I'm trying to follow through with the investigation of the family tree and all that, and I was wondering what kind of info you got, and I said, I don't know nothing. I said, first of all those people are long since gone, and that's my dad's family. I didn't really know all those people. And I said, that's like, you're talking about like way back when I was a kid. And a little kid, 11 to 12. Um, so, I didn't grow up in the South. I grew up in California. I was only in Oklahoma a really short time. Really short, like a year or 2 years, that's it. But anyway, well, she sent me like 4 emails in one night, like right back to back. So it's like totally interrupting my work. Just back to back. But, can you do this? Can you? I said, look, your best bet is to go to Oklahoma, go to City Hall, and go in the courthouse and go look up the records, because they're not going to be on the internet. They're all handwritten. I know, because I did it when I was doing abstracting for my Aunt Roseanne at her title and abstract company. I went every day to go pick up those records, because we had to update our files every single day, because we use our own files to research, so it saved us time going to the courthouse. We could pull all that stuff, Xerox it, the certified person would stamp it all, and then hand it to them as 3-inch thick Bible of the history of somebody's property. So they can, have the history of it, make sure it's all clear, financially and everything. And that's what we did. But, there's all those records, there's handwritten, they have letters in there, handwritten from way back. And anything that applies to a piece of land. It's a history, a Bible of the land. So, and I read lots of it. It's just incredible history. And then whoever the older people are in the town, they know the history of everything. You got to go see the old people. It's like being Dorothy the Wizard of Oz. Go see the wizard. You talk to all the older people. You go and you read the history, which is free to you to go to the court. And then the woman goes, so the next email comes back and it goes, so you're going to Oklahoma and you're going to go research. And I'm like, why on earth would you think in any way that I'm going to spend gas money at what, $4.20 a gallon to drive to freaking Oklahoma from Florida to go research your crap? Really? I just told you in last email, no way, no how. I have zero interest in Oklahoma. My dad's Okie. I am not. I've only been back there a couple times because I was passing through on the way to California to see my dad, you know. And it was work on the way. But, you know, I didn't stay overnight. None of that. Yeah, I've been dealing with some freaking kooks. But that woman emailed me like 3 or 4 times in one night in very short order. You know, from 6 o'clock to about 9 o'clock my time. And you know, finally I told her again, no, I am not. Time is money. Why on earth would I go to Oklahoma to research my dad's family? For what reason? And financially, I don't find it feasible. My time is money. I'm at work. I keep telling you, I am working. And you keep sending me these emails about this story and all that. I don't know what to tell you. To me, it's just like, why not let dead dogs lay? Because the other person died already. That was the so-called adoptee or whatever. You know? And they're like, oh, I've got to finish this project. And, you know, they died. And it's like, well, you know, maybe you should just let history just bury itself. Why is this so important? You know? I mean, you know, why are you coming to me? I mean, that was the next one. Like, I am too young. I am not that old. You know, why are you coming to me? And I'm not even like 100% that side of the family. You know what I mean? I'm a half, I guess, and maybe I'm not. What if I'm not? You know? And, you know, like my sister says, you know, why not just let stuff alone? What's the reason? What will it do? That was one of my first comments was, I don't know why they're so worried about it because all the money people are dead. They're long gone. So it's not like you're going to inherit anything today researching it. You know, because that's what it sounded like to me. They were going out for the money. You know. So, you know, I'm like, that's just long gone. You're not going to be able to find that. That's been burned up all the way to Biloxi probably. You know, and I just don't see how important it is. I mean, I know who all my other relatives are. I've got some real famous relatives on my dad's side, you know, freaking Jesse James. He told me never to say that because it like defaced him. And you know, that's kind of cool. I mean, but you know, hell, who cares? Pay me. Why do these people want all this free info? Pay me. You know, you're taking my time. So that's been another thing. And this was just like, what, last week? This woman emailed crap out of me in one night while I'm trying to work, just left and right, interrupting me. And, you know, and then comes off with, so, God, that will be great when you go to Oklahoma and go research it all. What the hell? Are you lost? The previous email, you should have read that too. You have not read any's emails and you're wasting my breath, I told her. You need to go back and read the previous email. Because, no, I have no reason to go hang out in Oklahoma right now. I wasn't planning on it real soon. You know, and I'm definitely not going back to research a bunch of crap. Again, you need to go and take a trip. And she's like, well, I'm in like Oregon or something. And see, the guy, he's back east somewhere, like in the Carolinas or something. But this other girl is like in Oregon. I'm like, well, great. I hope you go. Like Oregon or New Mexico or something. Oh, great. I hope you enjoy going. You know? You go. You know what I mean? But yeah, so, I mean, what do you think? Would you do it? Would you believe it? You know? How far would you go? You know, it's kind of like, I kind of come to the conclusion, like, sounds like a psycho. I kind of come to the conclusion, like, why not let sleeping dogs lie? Do I want to know if maybe my grandmother had some children she had to give up to a convent, you know? Take them to, you know, the nuns and say, please, you know, take these kids because I'm too young. Or her sister or brother. Or somebody was raped, you know, by, you know, a sharecropper or something. You know, there might be some really sad history there. But is it going to make a difference today? One, it's not going to make anybody any money. All that money's gone. All that big oil money and all that other stuff, gone. If my grandma was alive today, would I get her involved in it? No. Because if it was like a real true story and maybe involved her, which I kind of doubt, I could just see her sitting at my kitchen table crying all of a sudden. I wouldn't want to hurt her like that. No, I did not like her, and she was mean to me. She was kind of neat when I moved her in with me to save her butt from the poo-poo eating dog, because my dad didn't have time for her and he just wanted to put her in a nursing home because she could have better care, because he couldn't be around a supervisor because he's always working and traveling. I was there in California. I had room, and I didn't want to see anybody old go through that because it'd kill him. So, I tried to be kind. It was for somebody I really didn't like. But I didn't want to see my dad make that mistake. So, that's something that's really bothered me a lot. It's really bothered me a lot. And don't get me wrong, the guy's a great guy. We've exchanged like 50 emails, had some laughs and stuff. But again, I don't know who I'm talking to. I've never met him. It's not like he said, hey, if you come up this way, give me a call, or, here's where I live, or anything like that. There's none of that. I mean, he told me his name, told me who his mom and dad are, and all that crap, and they're already gone too. But I don't know anything about those people. I don't know. I mean, I'm not that old. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? I'm not that old. It's just like when that woman was bugging the crap out of me last week with all those emails in one night while I'm at work. I say, you don't understand. I'm not that old. All these people are long gone. I don't know much about my dad's family. Everybody's dead. I do know that. They were ancient when I was a kid. When I was 11 and 12 years old. They were ancient when I was 20. Gee whiz. And they're all gone. So, it's like, I don't know what to tell you. It's like, why are you so concerned? All these years later, why didn't somebody do something a long time ago? I mean, gee whiz. Why didn't they do something when Tessie was alive? Go ask her. She was the famous genealogist. All that stuff was in her head, man. She knew everything. I got ancestors I never got to meet. True. You see what I'm saying? But yeah, all these years later, and it's like, man, I'm too young. I can't really tell you a whole lot about it. And I did have the wonderful privilege of meeting some of those people because they lived for years, in the hundreds. On my dad's side, and many of them on my mother's side. My grandfather lived way over 100, on my mom's side. But yeah, I mean, this is bazillion years later. It's like the history books have already closed, as far as I'm concerned. What is the point? Like that lady was like, and I told her too, hey, there's no money for you to be picking up because it's all long gone, man. It's so far gone, it's beyond belief. It's been spent. I said there's no money to benefit or land to inherit out of it at this point in time. I really doubt it. It's long gone. And she's like, well, it's just, I'm just trying to follow through with these dead people's wishes that, to get this solved and everything, to know where everybody came from. Why? That's what I think. Nothing to get from it. I mean, what are you going to get from it? It sounds like my uncle researching our family tree. However, they sound kind of crazy. Well, Okies are. You have no clue. Okies just are. They're interesting folks. They're not as bad as some other southern states where, like, everybody's related. I mean, everybody's your cousin, sister, and brother, all of them, and there's only one person standing in front of you. No lie, that's really serious stuff. Like the family tree is one branch, one straight, right? That's all, folks. Nanny. I'm serious. This stuff is really true. It does happen. So yeah. So it's kind of creepy for me. And my sister's like, I absolutely would write that shit up like right away. It's bullcrap. That's insane. That there's no reason for it. That's just pure crazy. And I would just never talk to them again. And I'm like, okay. Like I don't like to be mean to people either, but still, I mean, it's just kind of so far out, because I'm sure that woman was bugging the crap out of that poor guy, and he's like, here, just take her email and just shut up. I'm sure that's what it was. And then I get this weird letter. Here we go again. And this girl's going on and on with all this crap. Now, I don't even know how old she is. She might be 90 years old talking all this poop. Because she was really kooky. And I bottom line told her, look, my dad's family, all those Okies are kind of kooky. You know what I mean? Just like my mother said. You know? I don't know anything about those people. I'm too young. You know what I mean? I am too young. I can't tell you a whole lot except for people I actually really knew. But it's a million years ago. Man, I was 11 and 12. I only knew them that long. I didn't remember them anything before that. My mother and dad did not go to Oklahoma visiting his relatives, okay? I don't ever remember that when I was little, okay? We lived in California. We lived in Annapolis. We lived in Washington before we went to California, okay? But yeah, no. No, 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 no. So I don't know. I can't, I don't think I'm a good history book. You know what I mean? I really don't know that much. All I know is I could tell you great stories about the people I knew that were alive, when I was a kid. And like in my 20s, when I was only, in Oklahoma for like a year or two, maybe. I think it was a year. Might have been 2 years, but I'm still trying to forget it. But anyway, is it 10 yet? Let's see. Oh, I still got a few minutes. I'm on bar time on one clock and my computer's on another. So yeah, yeah, what a riot! Oh my gosh. So anyway, that's been kind of bothersome for what, like a month maybe, I guess. Uh, so that's been a real concern kind of lately. Did your parents not visit your family in Oklahoma? Oh, God. I don't remember that. I don't remember that when I was a little kid. My parents split up when I was about 8. Um, and trust me, they did not get along. It's a shame. But they were great in business, but they just didn't get along. I was the happiest kid on the block for my parents to divorce, and it was like hoodoo when I was a kid. If your parents got divorced, you were going to be a broken, retarded child, destroyed, broken family, and you were just not looked up upon. It was not cool when I was little like that. It was very inappropriate. So, that was just the life, you know what I mean? So, I wasn't worried about it. Things worked out great for me. And so, yeah, I'm Florida. So, um, you know, I don't ever remember my grandmother coming to our house to visit when my parents were together in California. I don't ever remember going to Oklahoma to see any of those people. I do remember when I went to live with my dad when I was like 11 or 12, and the few years that I lived with him, that, he sent me to Oklahoma once or twice for like a week or two in the summer to go hang out with my Aunt Roseanne, um, and my Uncle Ernest and my cousin John Cash Jr. So, I mean, and that was kind of weird. But I only did that like 2 times, maybe 1 or 2 times, uh, before I moved out of my dad's house. But that's like it. I mean, my Aunt Roseanne did come out on occasion. I think one time she came out from Oklahoma to California, and she stayed in like a hotel or something. She never stayed in our house. My grandmother always stayed in our house, and then she would also go back to her hotel in downtown LA. Um, but that was like once a year, and she was back and forth to Oklahoma. So, that I don't know any more than that, really. Then when I went back to Oklahoma, I met some people, Roseanne made it a point to, go, okay, like, this is your great, 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 I guess, uncle, Rufus. And I'm like, okay, cool. Very historical. I spent a lot of time talking to him and asking him silly questions like, what's the first car you have? And that was so embarrassing because he goes, well, it was a wagon and it was black and it had red wheels and, it was fine make, and I'm like, okay, come on, be real. What kind of car did you have? Well, because I didn't realize that really the older people, there was no such thing as cars back then. I didn't know that. You know, I didn't know that. But I had somebody right alive in front of me that was ancient. They no, there were no cars then. They had the biggest thing was how good a wagon you had. Like Little House on the Prairie. This is some real stuff. So it was kind of shocking. But it was neat. It was very magical because I'm like, this guy is either totally crazy or he's for real. You know, and he was for real. You know, he was. There were no cars then. You know, they they had wagons. They rode horses. They walked. You know, it was just that era. So it was very wonderful to visit with him and talk to him for hours at a time. I loved visiting him, and relative or not, he was so educational. I would ask him all kinds of stuff. And it was just really neat. It was like an open history book all the way live. It was so much different than going and taking a history class. It was the real history book live. Too much fun, okay? So, really neat. Really, really neat. What a great guy he was. Um, it's a shame I messed a lot of that out of my life. All the times that I did visit with him. He's pretty awesome. Um, but again, I had left Oklahoma and I never saw those people again. I did pass through a couple times and visit with Roseanne. She treated me like pure dirt. Would say, "Oh, just wait till we close here at the office, and we'll go get a bite to eat, and just let me get away from here real quick," and then immediately take me to some $high joint, and then order some food, and then turn around and dirt dog me for the next hour. And it was like I just wanted to throw up all over the table, like what a pit snake you are, kind of thing. But I still had to be proper and polite because it's my daddy's sister. I wouldn't want to like show my butt, you know, because she's making the fool out of herself, not me. So, I just was like, oh, okay. And then, well, thank you so much for the lunch. It was just wonderful, slice of heaven. I appreciate you having time out of the day for me as I'm passing through to California to visit. God, it was horrible. Um, yeah, strange folks. Strange, strange, strange folks. But yeah, so I don't know. If you guys want to comment below, you're welcome to. But it's kind of like, you know, those of us, the few that are still alive, and people I can't like give up on this YouTube, um, because they want to be silent and protected and not endangered. Really don't. They think that it's sleeping dogs lie. Leave it be. And I really kind of think that too. If it was a secret back then, maybe it just needs to stay that way. You know what I mean? Why is it so very important? You know? You think I'm totally proud of all the people I know that are in my family or related or cousins? I got some cousins that are dirt trash on my mother's side. Dirt dog trash. I would tell you that today. They're a dirt trash. And you know who you are if you're on my channel. But, what are you going to do? MG Tau Academy. Still live in Florida. Currently, I am in Florida. I wouldn't say necessarily I live in Florida. I normally travel all over. Right now, I'm kind of like tied up at dock for a minute. So, I've been all over the States and all that too, but for many, many years, especially my business. But right now, I'm kind of like, in dock right now because of the pandemic. West Florida in eastern but part And it's Central Time, yeah. So, yeah, so it's kind of like, do you let sleeping dogs lay? Or how important is it to you? Is it going to make a difference because everybody's dead? Um, you know, to me, it's like really strange. And I don't see, yeah, I used to live in Walton County. That's how I found your channel. I've done many vlogs of actually Walton County, Okaloosa County, all kinds of places down in all over Florida, um, Arkansas, Alabama, Memphis, oh God, Annapolis, Maryland, New York, Massachusetts, Oklahoma, um, New Mexico, California, Nevada, Arizona. I've done vlogs of many, many states traveling and stuff. But yeah, so I mean, it just depends how, I guess, how important it is to you. To me, it kind of just seems like things should be kind of buried and leave it alone. I don't see where it's a benefit anywhere. I don't see where to make your life better. I don't see where it solves the problem, the answer to the problem in any way. I don't. I don't think it's going to change anything. I don't see where you can inherit anything or inherit any money or property at this point. I just don't see what it'll do. I've seen some YouTubers who are in Naples. Naples is very nice. Naples is very nice. I've been to almost every city in the state of Florida, actually, in the last 7 years. And almost every single city. And all of it's very, very nice, except for I don't like Jack's at all. Jack's is pure trash. Um, and I used to work in Jack's many years, repeatedly, going back and forth from Memphis. Um, and then there's a couple places in Upper Florida I don't care for. Defunk is one. I don't like Defunk too good. It's real dangerous now and full of meth. But most of the rest of the state's pretty quite nice. Beautiful place. You know, has always been fairly reasonable to live in. Now it's quite high due to the pandemic, but it's still cheaper than California and a couple other places. But anyway, I gotta wrap it up, and I've gotta get out of here, you guys, because the party is over for the evening. We have to start another day tomorrow, and I don't want to violate my lease. So I have to get rocking and rolling. But I love you so much. I appreciate you hanging out with me and your thoughts. And if you have anything else cool to say, or you have another thought about what we've discussed, go ahead and comment below. Because I appreciate your thoughts. Um, I'm just kind of alrighty then, thumbs up. I love you, man. Um, uh, that's just something that's really been bothering me, and I wanted to be honest with you guys because it's really kind of taken a toll on me to have to deal with all that. And I don't want to be mean to somebody. These people could be related to me, but it's got to one where it's just like rip my freaking hair out. And when you start taking my money away, while I'm trying to work and bug the crap out of me and email the devil, I mean, that woman drive me nuts. So far, she hasn't emailed me anymore. It was like 4 times. Blue jeans! It was like 4 times in that one night in about 3 hour period. I kept telling her, I said, I am working. Again, I am working. I don't have much time to talk to you. Um, uh, uh, and obviously she wasn't listening, but she was like the true Okie. Like really dinged out, man. But anyway, I love you guys so much. Thanks for coming. And we're almost at 2 hours here. You guys have been a slice of heaven as usual, and I love you so much. And I will see you in the next one. But if you have any other thoughts, go ahead and come back and comment on this vlog. Because I'm always open to whatever it is that you're thinking. You might think of something really incredible. Blog after a while. Or just blog after a while. I'm not reading anymore. And I am going to do a vlog, no matter how it falls, on that auction site. And I'm going to title it with their name. Whether I, start on their platform or I don't. I'm going to do a vlog very soon about that, so that people know about what I went through there and the processes and things, because it's just strange. It's just strange. And it really needs to be known and be titled. It'll be like my review, my honest review, my experience so far. Um, because it's just weird. And I hate for other people to go through what I went through. It's like just so much drama. It's like, what do I have to do? Cartwheels to impress you? You know, I didn't have to do all this to get on eBay and Amazon. Anyway, I love you guys. I gotta go. The clock is counting. I don't want to piss anybody off because we have video cameras, and you know I don't want to be a violator. So because it was brought up to me today, that's the new rule for today, and I said okay. I'm not, you know, I'm not pleased about it. I'm 100% against it because my lease reads differently, but you know I don't want to be a poo-poo head. Okay. Don't want to burn my bridges before I got to them. This is all I got right now. And I can't afford to move. So anyway, I got to keep on carrying on because it's all about the money. I love you guys. Have a great evening. You've been wonderful. Thanks for hanging out with me. And I'll see you in the next one. Do something kind for a stranger. I love you.